My beloved, come closer for a moment and allow the noise around you to loosen its grip. Let your breathing fall into a slower rhythm as you step into this quiet space with me. You have carried many thoughts, many questions, many pressures that have tried to pull your attention in every direction at once. But here, in this stillness, I invite you to rest. Let the weight of comparison, the worry of tomorrow, and the ache of being misunderstood begin to soften. You are not here by accident. You were drawn to this moment because something deep within you is ready to hear what I have been whispering for longer than you realize. My child, you have felt the tension between the world's clamor and the small, steady pull within your chest. That pull is me. And now, gently, without force or demand, I open a door before you. Step with me into this space where your heart can breathe again. Step with me into a place where clarity rises like dawn. This is your invitation. This is the beginning of hearing the words that have waited for their time. Now let us walk into the message held in the heart of Trust Only Me. My child, hear me now with the calmness of a soul leaning forward. The words Trust Only Me rise before you like a quiet flame in the darkness, not to frighten, not to overwhelm, but to draw your attention back to what has always been the truest anchor of your life. This moment is not random. You are not reading these words simply because you wanted something to fill the silence. You are here because something in you has grown tired of leaning on what cannot hold you, and the time has come for a deeper, clearer trust. You have been stretched by plans that changed without warning, by people who said one thing and lived another, by hopes that seemed so certain one day and so fragile the next. You have watched the world around you pull itself in opposite directions, each voice insisting it has the answer, each opinion demanding allegiance. And somewhere within all of that noise, you felt a quiet ache rising, a longing for a foundation that wouldn't shift beneath your feet. That ache is the doorway to this message. That longing is the reason I am speaking to you now. When I say trust only me, I am not calling you into isolation. I am calling you into clarity. I am calling you into a trust that is not dependent on your circumstances, your resources, or your ability to predict the future. I am calling you into a trust that breathes with you, walks with you, steadies you, and holds you even when your world shakes. So much has attempted to pull your faith into thin threads, but those threads were never meant to carry the weight you placed on them. I have always been the one strong enough to hold what you cannot. You have reached a uniquely timed moment in your story. A moment where distractions have become more elaborate, where opinions multiply faster than wisdom, and where uncertainty tries to disguise itself as destiny. But even now, even in this complexity, my voice rises inside you with a clarity that cannot be buried. Trust only me. Not because others are unworthy of love or connection, but because the core of your direction, the compass of your spirit, the peace you long for, these come from me alone. There are times in life when messages arrive too early, when the heart is not yet ready to absorb them. But this message arrives right on time. You have matured in ways you didn't notice. You have endured seasons that quietly strengthen you. The very confusion you faced has softened you toward truth. The heartbreaks you survived cleared space inside you for deeper discernment. And now, with all you've lived through, these words meet you in the perfect moment. You are ready to hear them with the depth they were meant to carry. My beloved, you have leaned on many things this year: plans, people, expectations, your own strength at times. But the path you are entering requires a trust rooted in something unshakable. A trust that does not sway when others misunderstand you. A trust that does not crumble when your environment shifts. A trust that remains steady even when your emotions falter. I am calling you to build from that place. This is not a demand. It is an invitation. An invitation to place your heart where it can finally rest without fear of collapse. An invitation to see how much lighter your life becomes when you are not trying to carry the weight of everything alone. An invitation to walk with confidence even when you do not yet see the full path ahead. For when you trust only me, you no longer need the world to approve your steps. You no longer need constant reassurance. You no longer need to interpret every sign or solve every unknown. Instead, you can breathe. You can move with intention. You can rest in knowing you are guided. Let these words settle deep within you. Let them echo past the surface of your mind and into the quiet chambers of your spirit. This message was always meant for you. It comes now because the season ahead requires clarity, and clarity begins with trust. My child, you are safe to lean into me. You are safe to release the tightness in your chest. You are safe to surrender the tension of trying to hold everything together. You are safe because I am with you. And this is why I whisper again, with more tenderness than force, more invitation than instruction. Trust only me. My beloved, before we move any further, I want you to settle into one truth so deeply that it becomes a foundation beneath every thought you carry. I have seen you. I have known you. Nothing in your story has been overlooked, dismissed, or forgotten. You may feel at times as though your quiet battles slip through the cracks of the world's attention, but they do not slip through mine. Every moment that has weighed on you has brushed against my awareness with tenderness, never judgment. You have walked through storms that no one fully understood, and yet I have held every tear, every ache, every unspoken question. There were nights when you lay awake wondering if anyone truly grasped the heaviness you were carrying. The world kept moving, as if nothing inside you had shifted, as if you were expected to keep pace regardless of the bruises within your heart. But I saw you. I watched the way you tried to smile even when your spirit felt tired. I noticed the moments when you held yourself together so others wouldn't worry. I paid attention to every breath you took when anxiety pressed too tightly against your ribs. I knew when you were pretending to be strong and when you were genuinely standing tall. I knew the difference, not because you explained it, but because your heart speaks to me in ways your words never have to. My child, the depth of your experiences matters to me. Those struggles you dismissed as not that important, those frustrations you told yourself to ignore, those disappointments you brushed aside so you wouldn't feel weak, none of them were meaningless. They shaped you. They stretched you. They carved deeper compassion into you. And I honored every step of that journey even when you felt like no one else cared. There were seasons when you longed for someone to notice that you were trying. You wanted to be seen, not for perfection, not for achievement, but simply for the effort itself. And though the people around you sometimes missed it, I never did. I saw the moments when you chose kindness even while hurting. I saw when you forgave even though forgiveness felt like a mountain. I saw when you kept moving forward even with the weight of uncertainty pressing against your shoulders. You never walked through your challenges alone, even when loneliness tried to convince you otherwise. You have also carried dreams that felt too fragile to speak aloud. Hopes you tucked away because you feared they would be misunderstood. Desires so deep they almost frightened you. I have held those dreams with you, gently, without rushing them. I have known the longings that you could barely admit to yourself. And though they remained hidden from others, they have always been clear to me. You've also felt the sting of being misread, mislabeled, or underestimated. People saw a version of you that didn't fully match what was inside. They formed opinions based on fragments instead of your whole story. And that, too, left a mark. But hear me, their misunderstandings do not define you. I know who you truly are. I know the softness beneath your strength. I know the courage behind your quietness. I know the intentions behind your actions, even when your intentions were not recognized. You have walked through mistakes that haunted you longer than necessary. Some of them you replayed in your mind, wishing you had chosen differently. Some of them you feared disqualified you from the path ahead. But even in those moments, I saw more than your actions. I saw the pain that shaped them, the pressure that preceded them, the lessons they carried, and the growth they produced. Nothing about your journey has pushed you away from me. If anything, each moment has drawn me nearer, closer than you realized. There were times you wondered whether your silent endurance mattered, whether your resilience held any value, whether your tears, hidden behind closed doors, meant anything. Let me tell you now with a tenderness that reaches to the deepest places within you. They mattered deeply to me. Your endurance was not invisible. Your resilience was not wasted. Your tears were not lost in the dark. Every moment you thought went unnoticed was held in my hands with care. You have never been a mystery to me. Not your fears, not your doubts, not your hopes, not your contradictions, not your internal battles. I know the patterns you fight against. I know the habits you're trying to outgrow. I know the wounds you're still healing. And I know the quiet strength you rarely give yourself credit for. You are known completely, not partially, not vaguely, not from a distance, but fully. And in being fully known, you are fully loved. My beloved, this message, trust only me, does not come to a stranger. It comes to the one whose heart I have tended, whose steps I have watched, whose pain I have held, whose future I have prepared. I do not ask for your trust from a place of distance. I ask for your trust from a place of deep knowing. You are seen. You are understood. You are known in ways no one else has ever known you. And because I know you, I walk with you. My child, there comes a moment in every life when the familiar no longer fits, when the old ways of coping begin to crumble, and when the heart knows, quietly yet unmistakably, that a shift is unfolding. You are standing in that moment now. It is not marked by fireworks or dramatic signs, but by a subtle inner clarity rising like the first light before dawn. This is the threshold, a place where the path behind you loosens its hold and the path ahead begins to glow with possibility. You may feel both anticipation and hesitation, both courage and trembling, and that is the natural tension of transformation. You are not failing for feeling both. You are simply standing at the doorway of change. There is something in you that has grown too large for your previous life. The doubts, habits, and patterns that once felt manageable now feel too tight, too heavy, too small. You have stretched beyond them, even if you haven't realized it yet. The questions you've been asking yourself lately, the ones about direction, identity, meaning, peace, are signs that your inner world is expanding. You are no longer content with surviving. Your spirit is ready to genuinely live. And this readiness, gentle as it may feel, is what marks this moment as sacred. For a long time, you tried to hold on to pieces of your old way of being because they felt familiar, even when they drained you, even when they confused you, even when they no longer aligned with who you were becoming. You clung to them because letting go felt risky, uncertain, unpredictable. But now something within you has shifted. You have begun asking different questions, seeking deeper clarity, longing for a steadiness that nothing external has been able to provide. This shift is not random. It is the sign that your old coping mechanisms are dissolving, making space for trust that will carry you further than self-reliance ever could. This threshold moment is not about dramatic decisions. It is about quiet alignment. It is the moment when you stop outsourcing your peace to unstable places. It is the moment when you realize that the voices of the world, opinions, expectations, pressures have grown louder than your own inner truth. And it is the moment when you finally decide that you are ready to hear me with new clarity. Not because you are desperate, but because you are prepared. I have been waiting for this moment in your life, not waiting impatiently, but with patience shaped by love. I knew there would come a day when the noise around you would reach a level that made you stop and listen more carefully to what has been calling from within. I knew the illusions that once captivated you would eventually lose their shine. I knew the confusion that surrounded you would eventually drive you inward to a place where my voice could finally rise above the rest. And now here you are, at the quiet edge of a new beginning. This threshold asks you to choose clarity over drifting. Drifting requires nothing. It simply pulls you along, letting circumstances define your direction. It lets fears dictate your pace. It lets confusion blur your purpose. Drifting is effortless, but it costs you everything. Clarity, on the other hand, requires intention. It requires you to pause long enough to notice which direction your heart leans when the noise settles. It requires courage, not loud, dramatic courage, but the soft, steady courage to trust what resonates deeply instead of what merely distracts temporarily. You have been drifting at times, pulled by uncertainty, pulled by the expectations of others, pulled by the pressure to choose quickly rather than choose wisely. But now, at this threshold, you are being invited to step into clarity. Not the clarity of having every answer, but the clarity of knowing whom to follow. The clarity of knowing which voice brings peace, which path aligns with truth, and which direction carries your spirit forward rather than scattering it. The words "trust only me" become especially important here. At a threshold, there will always be competing voices. Fear urging caution, doubt whispering limitations, old wounds reminding you of past failures. My voice does not come to intimidate or confuse. My voice comes to steady you, to quiet the storm inside you, to remind you that your next step is not taken alone. When you lean into me at a threshold moment, you are choosing the path of alignment rather than the path of uncertainty. You are choosing grounded direction rather than emotional reaction. You may not realize how close you are to breakthrough. Thresholds rarely feel like triumph. They feel like tension. They feel like standing between who you used to be and who you are becoming. They feel like being pulled in two directions at once. One direction calling you to stay the same, the other calling you to rise. And yet, even in this tension, there is a quiet certainty forming in the center of your being. A certainty that whispers, you cannot go back. You are meant for more. My beloved, this moment matters. As I have asked emotion, it is a pivotal shift. It is the moment where you stop being shaped by your fears and begin being shaped by your connection to me. It is the moment when drifting ends and intention begins. It is the moment when the future opens softly before you, not with pressure, but with invitation. Step gently. Step thoughtfully. Step with awareness. You are crossing a threshold, and I am walking with you. My beloved, before you step further into the clarity that awaits you, I want us to pause and gently name the barriers that have crowded your path. Not to shame you, not to burden you, but to free you. You cannot rise above what you refuse to acknowledge, and you cannot walk forward confidently while shadows linger unspoken in the corners of your heart. This is a moment of illumination, not accusation. A moment where truth enters softly, not to expose you, but to liberate you from the weight you were never meant to carry. There are fears you have held on to for so long that they began to feel like part of your identity. Fears of failure, fears of disappointment, fears of being misunderstood or unseen, fears that whisper, what if you're wrong? What if you fall again? What if you're not enough? These fears have echoed in you louder in certain seasons, especially when you tried to step into something new. They are not a sign of weakness. They are remnants of past experiences, lingering memories that shaped your reactions without your permission. But hear me now. These fears do not define you. They are shadows, not truth. There is also the barrier of doubt, subtle, persistent, familiar. Doubt that questions your intuition. Doubt that second-guesses every decision. Doubt that makes you hold back when everything in you wants to move forward. Doubt often disguises itself as being realistic, but beneath the surface it is simply the result of past wounds trying to protect you. You have doubted yourself because people you trusted once made you question your own voice. You have doubted your path because you were taught to depend on external validation. And yet, even in your doubt, there has always been a quiet certainty beneath the noise, a knowing you tried to silence because it didn't match the expectations around you. That inner knowing is me, and it has never left you. Another barrier that has followed you is hesitation. Hesitation born from not wanting to repeat past mistakes. Hesitation shaped by the pressure to make the right choice. Hesitation strengthened by the fear of unpredictable outcomes. You have paused so many times, not because you lacked passion or direction, but because you were afraid of the cost of choosing wrong. But my child, hesitation is not your nature. Discernment is your nature. Wisdom is your nature. The hesitation you feel is simply the tension between your old patterns and your emerging clarity. Confusion has also attempted to cloud your vision, not because you lack intelligence or awareness, but because too many voices have competed for your attention. Expectations, opinions, criticisms, assumptions. These voices have created fog around your true direction. You have tried to navigate decisions while carrying the weight of what others might think, say, or judge. But your path was never meant to be shaped by external noise. Your path is shaped by the quiet truth rising within you. The confusion you feel is not a flaw. It is evidence that you are outgrowing the environments, influences, and thought patterns that once guided you. And then there is the barrier of comparison. You have measured your progress against timelines that were never meant for you. You have questioned your worth based on the pace of others. You have doubted your journey because it didn't look like someone else's. Comparison stole the joy from victories that should have been celebrated. It magnified insecurities that were already tender. It convinced you that you were behind when, in truth, you were simply being led in a different rhythm. My beloved, your path is not late. Your growth is not so. Your story is not lacking. You are unfolding exactly as you were meant to. There have also been external influences, voices that shaped your belief in yourself, sometimes without you realizing it. People who discouraged you because they could not see your vision. People who projected their fears onto your decisions. People who misunderstood your heart and caused you to shrink in order to avoid conflict or rejection. You internalized some of their words, not because they were true, but because you were sensitive, open, and willing to listen. But now, as you stand on this threshold, those external influences are losing their power. They were never meant to define you. And finally, there is exhaustion. The quiet, persistent exhaustion that comes from trying to hold everything together while appearing strong. You have been carrying emotional weight, mental pressure, and personal responsibility with so much grace that others never realized how tired you truly were. Exhaustion has blurred your vision at times, making it harder to discern your next step. But exhaustion is not a barrier caused by failure. It is a sign that you have been fighting battles too long without resting in me. These barriers, fear, doubt, hesitation, confusion, comparison, external pressure, exhaustion, have shaped your past, but they do not belong to your identity. They are experiences, not traits. They are temporary, not permanent. They are illusions that dissolve the moment you step into the clarity of trusting me. My beloved, naming these barriers does not bind you to them. It frees you from them. You are not what happened to you. You are not what you felt in your weakest moments. You are not the mistakes you made while trying your best. You are not the limitations others placed on you. You are not your fears, your doubts, or your hesitations. You are the one I am guiding, the one I am strengthening, the one I am calling forward. And as we move to the next part, these barriers will no longer walk beside you. My beloved, now that we have brought the shadows into the light, it is time to turn your gaze toward what rises beyond them. This part of your journey is not about striving, earning, or proving. It is about receiving what has always been waiting for you. The promise I place before you is not a transaction, not a reward for perfection, not something you must compete for. It is an unfolding of peace, healing, clarity, and restoration that grows naturally when you lean into me. This promise is not loud or dramatic. It is steady, living, and transformative. It forms within you the moment you choose to trust. Peace is the first gift that begins to rest upon you. Not the fragile peace that comes from controlling your environment or keeping everything from falling apart, but a peace that rises from deep within you. A peace that is not dependent on outcomes. A peace that does not collapse when uncertainties appear. This peace surrounds your heart like a gentle shelter, allowing you to breathe without the weight of constant vigilance. When you trust me, peace becomes your internal atmosphere, not because life becomes easier, but because you stop carrying what was never yours to carry. Healing also begins to move through your life in quiet, persistent waves. Not the quick fix you once hoped for, but the kind of healing that reaches the roots of your wounds and dissolves the residue of old pain. Healing that untangles the tightness you've carried in your chest. Healing that softens the harsh inner voice that formed from years of hurt. Healing that restores parts of you thought were permanently lost. My promise is not merely that your wounds will stop hurting, but that they will transform into wisdom, compassion, and inner strength. Clarity arrives next, not as a thunderbolt, but as a steady dawn. Confusion begins to fade, not because every question has an answer, but because your heart becomes aligned with truth. Clarity is not knowing everything. Clarity is recognizing what deserves your attention and what does not. It is the lifting of mental fog. It is the quiet assurance that you are not wandering aimlessly. It is the inner recognition of direction even when you cannot see the full path. When you trust only me, clarity no longer competes with noise. It becomes your natural way of seeing. Restoration is also woven into this promise. Restoration of confidence where you once felt broken. Restoration of joy where disappointment had settled. Restoration of hope where fear had taken root. Restoration is not about returning to who you used to be. It is about becoming who you were always meant to be. It is about reclaiming the parts of you that life tried to dim. It is the slow rebuilding of your inner world so that you can move forward with strength that feels authentic, not forced. Forward movement becomes possible when peace, healing, clarity, and restoration take root in your life. You begin to move with intention instead of survival. You step with confidence instead of hesitation. You make decisions based on alignment instead of pressure. Forward movement is not rushing. It is flowing. It is the natural progression of a soul that is no longer burdened by old fears and old patterns. When you trust me, you stop feeling stuck because your steps are no longer rooted in uncertainty. They are rooted in connection. And my child, understand this deeply. The promise is not about outcomes. It is about relationship. I am not offering you a life free of challenges. I am offering you a life where you are no longer overwhelmed by them. I am not promising that every dream will arrive instantly. I am promising that you will not walk toward your future alone. I am not giving you a guarantee of perfection. I am giving you a companionship that steadies you regardless of the season. This promise unfolds within you, not because you earned it, but because you opened yourself to me. You open the door when you choose to trust. You open the door when you release your grip on fear. You open the door when you let your heart soften after being guarded for so long. You open the door when you allow yourself to believe that you are worthy of peace, worthy of healing, worthy of clarity, worthy of restoration. My beloved, the promise is not distant. It is not waiting in some far-off season. It begins the moment you let these words settle into the deepest place within you. It begins the moment you allow yourself to rest instead of resist. It begins the moment you choose connection over self-protection. Every time you breathe and remember trust only me, the promise expands within you, shaping the way you think, feel, respond, and move. This promise does not elevate you above others. It anchors you within yourself. It reconnects you to your true nature, calm, grounded, bright with purpose. It invites you to live not from fear, but from presence. Not from desperation, but from peace. Not from confusion, but from clarity. Not from brokenness, but from wholeness. This is the promise I place gently in your hands. A life aligned with truth, a heart anchored in peace, a path illuminated by trust. My beloved, come closer now, for this is the part of your journey where a gentle, sacred shift begins to unfold within you. You have walked through the weight of your past, the clarity of your present, and the unfolding of the promise. And now I invite you into something deeper, something tender, intimate, and transformative. This is the moment of surrender. Not the surrender the world teaches, where you lose power or dignity, but a surrender that restores you. A surrender that lightens your heart. A surrender that allows you to release the burdens that were never meant to remain on your shoulders. You have carried so much on your own for so long that strength became a habit rather than a choice. You moved through difficult seasons with resilience, not because you never felt overwhelmed, but because you believed you had no other option. You held yourself together during storms that would have crushed others, and you did it, quietly, without applause or recognition. You have been strong in ways few people know. But now, my child, I am inviting you to lay down the kind of strength that exhausts you and to embrace the kind of strength that frees you. Surrender is not giving up. It is giving over. It is placing the weight you have been gripping into hands that will not drop it. It is choosing rest over tension, trust over control, connection over isolation. You do not need to fight every battle alone. You do not need to solve every unknown before you sleep. You do not need to carry the fears, expectations, regrets, and anxieties that have pressed against your spirit. I am here to carry them with you, if you will allow me. Begin by releasing the exhaustion you've hidden behind your smile. Release the weariness that sits quietly beneath your responsibilities. Release the guilt you've held for not being able to handle everything perfectly. Release the belief that you must earn rest. Release the tightness in your chest that forms whenever you think about all the things you cannot control. Every burden you release creates space for something sacred to enter. Let go, too, of the old wounds you've outgrown but still carry. The memories that replay when you feel vulnerable. The words spoken over you that were never true. The moments that shaped your self-doubt. You do not need to hold them anymore. Surrender them, not because they were insignificant, but because they no longer serve the person you are becoming. Your heart has held these memories long enough. Let healing now replace them. Surrender the fear of uncertainty. You have tried for so long to predict outcomes, to plan for every possibility, to stay safe by staying prepared. But that vigilance has drained your joy. You were not created to live in constant anticipation of worst-case scenarios. You were created to move with peace even when you cannot see what lies ahead. Trust is not about knowing. Trust is about releasing the need to know. And while you release, I offer something in return. For every burden you lay down, I place a gift in its place, not as a bargain, but as a natural exchange of love. When you release fear, I give you steadiness. The kind of steady presence that keeps you grounded even when life shakes around you. When you release control, I give you peace. Not temporary calm, but a lasting inner quiet that settles deep in your spirit. When you release shame, I give you acceptance. A reminder that you are worthy, whole, and never defined by your lowest moments. When you release confusion, I give you clarity, not the clarity of knowing everything, but the clarity of knowing you are guided. When you release pressure, I give you rest. Rest that does not feel like escape, but restoration. Rest that fills you rather than merely stopping you. And when you release the loneliness you never spoke of, I give you companionship. Not distant, not abstract, but present, personal, and unwavering. This exchange is the heartbeat of surrender. The world tells you surrender means losing. But here, surrender means receiving. It means allowing me to step into the spaces you have been protecting with your own strength. It means trusting that you do not need to hold the world together with your bare hands. My beloved, you do not surrender to weakness, you surrender to love. You surrender to truth. You surrender to the peace that has been trying to reach you for years. You surrender to the guidance that has been whispering within you. You surrender to the freedom you have longed for but feared was too fragile to hope for. And in the surrender, something sacred happens. The burden you carried becomes the opening through which transformation enters. You no longer cling to what hurts you. You no longer build walls from what wounded you. Instead, you place it all gently into my hands, and in return, I place strength, clarity, rest, and presence into yours. This is the sacred exchange. This is the moment where trust becomes more than words. It becomes the foundation beneath your feet. My beloved, now that peace has begun to rise within you and the sacred exchange has opened space in your heart, it is time to gently weave these inner shifts into your daily life. Transformation is not sustained by emotion alone. It grows through alignment, small, steady choices that honor who you are becoming. This part of your journey is not about perfection or rigid discipline. It is about living with intention, moving with awareness, and allowing your inner peace to guide the practical rhythms of your days. Begin with the way you start your mornings. You do not need elaborate rituals or long lists of tasks. You simply need a moment, one quiet breath where you acknowledge that you are not walking into the day alone. When you open your eyes, allow yourself a brief pause before the world's demands rush in. Breathe softly and remember the words I have been whispering to you. Trust only me. Let this thought settle into your chest before you rise, for it will set the tone for everything that follows. As you move through your day, pay attention to the pace at which you operate. You have often rushed, not because time was short, but because anxiety pressed on you like an invisible hand. But now, you are invited into a gentler rhythm, a steady rhythm. You do not need to hurry your spirit even when your schedule is full. Walk, speak, choose, and respond from a place of groundedness. The world may race, but you do not need to. Slowing your inner pace is not laziness, it is wisdom. It is alignment. It is honoring the peace that is growing within you. Your focus, too, is sacred. Notice where your attention goes throughout the day. Notice the distractions that pull you away from yourself. Notice the thoughts that drain you, the voices that unsettle you, the routines that numb you. Whenever you feel your attention scattering, gently bring it back. Return to presence. Return to this moment. Return to your breath. Return to the quiet assurance that I am with you. Your mind does not need to chase every thought or entertain every fear. You can choose what you allow to stay. Your relationships also reflect your alignment. The people you surround yourself with influence your energy more than you realize. Some nourish you, some challenge you in healthy ways, and some drain you unknowingly. You do not need to cut people off in anger. You only need to be mindful of the spaces you offer them within your heart. You can love people without giving them permission to shape your identity. You can care for others without abandoning yourself. You can listen to opinions without allowing them to override your inner guidance. Alignment means choosing your connections with intention rather than obligation. Your energy is another area of sacred responsibility. You expend it in conversations, tasks, commitments, and emotional labor. But now, I invite you to treat your energy as something precious, not because it is scarce, but because it is valuable. Notice what drains you unnecessarily. Notice what strengthens you effortlessly. Notice what activities leave you feeling hollow and which ones make you feel more alive. Honor those signaled. Your energy is a compass pointing you toward what aligns and away from what doesn't. Begin practicing small moments of stillness throughout your day. Not long meditations or elaborate rituals, simply brief pauses where you center yourself again. Even 10 seconds of deep awareness can reset your mind and reconnect you to peace. These micro moments of stillness accumulate, forming a new internal rhythm that supports your emotional and spiritual well-being. Let your decisions reflect alignment, not fear. When a choice arises, big or small, notice how your body responds. Virdiden. Truth softens. Anxiety constricts. Peace expands. Your intuition is not random. It is one of the ways I speak to you. Trust the gentle pull toward what feels honest and grounded. Trust the subtle discomfort that warns you when something is not right. Alignment means honoring these sensations instead of overriding them for the sake of expectations or convenience. As you move through each day, let peace become your compass. Not a vague idea of peace, but an embodied experience of calm, presence, and clarity. When an opportunity presents itself, ask, does this bring peace or disrupt it? When a decision weighs on you, ask, does this align with who I am becoming? When uncertainty surfaces, return to the simple refrain, trust only me. Peace is not passive, it is powerful. It reveals what belongs and what does not. At the end of each day, give yourself permission to release whatever you carried. You do not need to bring yesterday's worries into tomorrow's dawn. Sit quietly for a moment before sleep and breathe out the tension that gathered throughout the day. Acknowledge what felt heavy. Honor what felt good. Let gratitude soften your edges. Let peace settle into your bones. Rest is not an interruption of your progress. It is part of your alignment. My beloved, real-world alignment is not about living perfectly. It is about living consciously. It is about choosing to return to peace again and again, no matter how many times you drift. It is about allowing your inner transformation to shape your outer actions. It is about walking through your daily life with a heart that remembers what matters. Every choice you make from a place of peace strengthens your connection to me. Every moment of awareness deepens your clarity. Every act of alignment becomes a quiet declaration. I trust only you. My beloved, we have walked together through the deep places of your heart, through fear, through clarity, through surrender, through renewal, and now you have arrived at the moment where everything comes together. This is the moment of choice. Not a choice forced upon you, not a choice rooted in fear or pressure, but a choice born from awakening. A choice that rises gently from within you, asking if you are ready to live from the truth that has been unfolding inside your spirit. This is the moment where your inner transformation becomes your outward direction. Every journey reaches a point where what hath been learned must be lived. You stand at that sacred turning now. You have felt the tug of trust growing stronger. You have sensed old fears losing their grip. You have noticed the soft pull toward peace, the clear voice within you, the shift from uncertainty to grounding. All of this has been preparing you for this very moment, the moment where you choose how you will move forward from here. But hear me, my child. The choice I invite you into is not a dramatic leap, not a sudden transformation, not a flawless commitment. It is a simple, steady decision to anchor yourself in connection with me. A choice to return to trust again and again, no matter how many times you drift. A choice to breathe with intention. A choice to move with awareness. A choice to let peace guide you instead of pressure. A choice to let your future be shaped not by fear but by alignment. You may wonder if you are ready. You may worry that you will fall back into old patterns. You may fear that your doubts are still too loud, your past still too heavy, your clarity still too fragile. But readiness is not perfection. Readiness is willingness. And you are willing. The tenderness in your heart, the resonance you felt in these words, the quiet hope rising within you, all of these are signs that you are ready to choose. This choice is not taken once. It is taken daily. It is taken in small moments, in the way you breathe, in the way you respond, in the way you stand back up after a difficult day. Choosing trust does not require you to silence your emotions. It simply invites you to not let them lead. Choosing trust does not require you to eliminate uncertainty. It simply invites you to walk through it with me. Choosing trust does not require you to be unshakable. It simply invites you to let me steady you. As you step into this choice, let your heart speak. Let your voice carry what your spirit has been longing to express. Spoken declarations are not magic. They are alignment. They are the way you bring your inner truth into the physical world. They anchor your intentions. They steady your mind. They remind your heart of the path you are choosing. These declarations are not demands, not commands, but gentle affirmations of the connection we are strengthening. Let these declarations rise from within you. I release what no longer belongs to me. I choose peace over pressure. I trust the quiet guidance within me. I am safe to take the next step. I walk forward with clarity. I am grounded, steady, and supported. I choose connection over fear. I allow myself to rest. I am open to healing. I breathe in peace and exhale worry. I trust only you. Speak them softly. Speak them slowly. Let each word settle into your body like a warm light. These declarations are not about convincing yourself of something untrue. They are about aligning yourself with what has been true all along. You are capable. You are guided. You are held. You are not alone. As you speak, notice what rises within you. Notice the way your mind quiets. Notice the warmth in your chest. Notice the subtle shift in your breathing. This is alignment happening in real time. This is trust forming not as an abstract idea, but as a lived experience. This is the moment where your spirit says yes. My beloved, the choice before you is simple. Will you trust only me? Will you release the burden of carrying every fear, every expectation, every unknown on your own? Will you allow me to steady your steps and guide your heart? Will you allow your life to unfold from peace instead of tension? I do not ask you to choose perfectly. I ask you to choose honestly, and I will walk with you through every moment that follows. As you embrace this choice, feel the shift occurring within you. Feel your shoulders relax. Feel your spirit lift. Feel your heart soften. You are stepping into a new chapter, not because the world has changed, but because you have. You are choosing with awareness. You are choosing with clarity. You are choosing with intention. You are choosing trust. My beloved, let this choice anchor you. Let these declarations shape you. Let the quiet certainty within you guide your way. And remember always, gently and deeply, you do not walk this path alone. My beloved, breathe softly now as we bring this journey to a gentle close. You have walked with courage through depths within yourself that many never dare to explore. You have listened with an open heart, allowed truth to settle into quiet places, and welcome peace where fear once lived. This moment is not an ending but a settling, a soft seal placed upon everything we have uncovered together. Let these words rest upon you like the final light of evening. You are held. You are guided. You are never moving through this life alone. The path before you is not defined by uncertainty, but by connection, by the steady presence that walks with you through every rise and fall. What has awakened within you will continue to unfold long after this moment fades. Carry with you the refrain that has echoed through every part of this message. Let it be the whisper that steadies your heart, the anchor that grounds your steps, the truth that clears your vision. Trust only me. May these words seal your spirit with peace. May they guide you gently into every tomorrow,